There's a national park about 45 minutes from my hometown that I've been visiting since I was a kid. My dad used to take me there every fall. Same trails, same lake, same forest. After he died, I still went a few times every year. It always felt familiar. That's why what happened there still bothers me so much. Last October, I decided to spend a weekend camping there alone. I'd never actually gone by myself before. Usually I brought friends or family, but life got busy, and honestly, I just wanted quiet for a couple of days. The first day felt normal. Cold air, orange leaves everywhere, the smell of wet pine drifting through the woods. I followed the same trail I walked dozens of times before, and set up camp near a creek about 5 miles from the main road. By sunset, though, the forest started feeling different. It was hard to explain. The woods suddenly felt bigger than I remembered, darker too. Even familiar landmarks looked wrong somehow. That night, I sat by a fire for maybe an hour before climbing into my tent. And that's when it hit me. I was completely alone out here. No voices, no cars, no distant sounds. Just trees. The silence started getting to me fast. Every tiny noise outside the tent suddenly sounded huge. Branches snapping, leaves moving, something shifting in the dark. I barely slept. Sometime around 3 a.m., I woke up because I heard something breathing outside the tent. I froze immediately. The sound circled around the campsite once before stopping near the creek, then completely silent. I stayed awake until sunrise. The second it got light outside, I decided I was leaving early. I packed everything in under 10 minutes and started hiking back toward the trailhead. At least, I thought I did. After nearly 2 hours of walking, I realized I'd never crossed a wooden bridge near the stream. That should have happened within the first 30 minutes. At first, I assumed I took a wrong turn somewhere, but the trail looked unfamiliar now. The trees were denser, the path was narrower, and there were no markers anywhere. That's when I started panicking. I pulled out my phone, and no signal. I kept walking faster, hoping I'd eventually reconnect with the main trail. Instead, the woods just kept getting thicker. Around noon, I found the Husk. At first, I thought it was a dead tree. It stood upright, between the trees about 20 feet off the trail, tall and dark, split down the center. But as I got closer, I realized it wasn't a tree anymore. It looked almost human, like something had grown around the body long ago. The bark curved outward like ribs. The inside was hollow, completely black inside. And the opening in the trunk looked disturbingly similar to a mouth hanging open. I remember getting this horrible feeling standing near it. Like I shouldn't even be looking at it. Then I noticed the smell. Rot. Like something was decaying. I backed away immediately. That's when I heard movement inside the husk. A shifting sound. Slow scraping from the deep within the hollow center. I got out of there as fast as I could. I didn't even think. I I just started running blindly through the forest, branches hitting my face, leaves crunching under my boots, and behind me, I heard something moving too. Heavy impacts against the ground. I remember hearing trees creaking nearby as whatever it was moved through the woods behind me. Then came the sound that still makes my stomach turn whenever I think about it. The breathing. The same wet breathing I heard outside my tent. Only much louder now. Closer. I finally stopped running when I reached a clearing near an old ranger cabin. The building looked abandoned, but I didn't care. I slammed the door shut behind me and locked it. Inside smelled like mold and wet wood. Most of the windows were boarded up except one facing the forest. That's where I saw it, standing at the edge of the trees. I couldn't even process what I was looking at. It was tall enough that its head brushed low branches. Its body looked stretched and uneven, like bark and bone fused together. Long arms hanging nearly to the ground. And its chest. It looked hollow, like the inside of a tree husk. The thing stood completely still, watching the cabin. Then slowly it tilted its head. The cracking sound that came from the neck genuinely made me feel sick. I remember backing away from the window while trying not to make a noise. Then the creature took a single step forward into the clearing. Its joints sounded like splitting wood. Then suddenly the entire cabin shook. Something slammed against the outside wall hard enough to knock dust from the ceiling. The boards covering the windows rattled violently. I thought the cabin was going to collapse. Then everything stopped. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. I stayed hidden inside for hours. Eventually, sometime near sunset, I worked up the courage to look outside again. The clearing was empty. Carved into the dirt outside the cabin was a long trail leading back toward the forest, like something enormous had dragged itself away. I found the main trail less than 15 minutes later. The strange part, it was close enough that I should have seen it all day. I never went back to that park again. And a few months later, I found an old online forum talking about strange sightings in that area. One post mentioned hikers finding hollow trees shaped like people deep in the woods. Another person claimed that park rangers used to avoid certain trails after dark. But the final post was what bothered me most. It simply said, "If you find an empty husk, run."